Jonathan Young.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'd like just to clarify a couple of things because we are being, I think, unreasonably lambasted by members of the opposition. And yeah, so they are attempting to make a political feast when we're talking about principles here. And sir, the issue around this proposed legislation is not intent, but it's a mechanism. All right? And a case in point has been the confusion that seems to be happening around some Schedule 2 inclusions or exclusions, because we've had the sponsor of the bill, Honourable David Parker, talk about pamphlet delivery people needing to be on the minimum wage, and why wouldn't we agree with that? And we've had Chris Hipkins come into the House and do a grandstand rhetorical speech saying the same thing. Yet we find Schedule 2 that they have been deleted. And the reason, sir, that they have been deleted is because in the discussion in the committee, and I believe Clayton Mitchell has proposed this deletion and the member has agreed to it, is because there are many retired people who do pamphlet delivery, who don't walk as fast as a 20-year-old, but do it for lifestyle choice, or perhaps they do it for supplementary income, and possibly they'll never do it fast enough to really get that minimum wage. But the principle says, I can actually get these delivered by a younger, fitter person, because this is what we estimate this job to be done in terms of length of time. And then it creates exclusion for them. And so this is part of the complexity, can I say complexity, around this bill and how it will affect lots of people in our communities. And so the member has agreed to take that line out, that group of people out of Schedule 2. And that, sir, is just evidence of the great complexity around this space. And I heard what the member was saying before, how he believed that perhaps if it doesn't succeed in this format, then some work can be done around contractual law and look at some of those other areas. And look, I would think that what I am hearing, and perhaps you are hearing, that what you members are hearing is that right through the contracting community, people are saying that this is creating confusion. And let me give another example of that, because in Clause 7A, which is the remuneration and time record to be kept, what it states in subclause 2D, that the number of hours spent providing the service by the specified contractor and the remuneration for those hours needs to be recorded. And so when we come to what the Inland Revenue Department state in terms of what an employee person is, they are a person who can be told at any time what to do on the job and when and how to do it. So they have their hours of work controlled by their employer. And essentially this is what we're saying in this Clause 7A, is that we are needing now to, and I'm not saying that we are excluding piece rate or excluding the ability for a person to put in a contract price for a deliberate outcome. But what we're having to do is pass all of that through a filter of a time recording process. And that would apply, and there may be some exclusions which perhaps the member could talk about later on through that as you go into subclause 6, which I'd probably like the member to explain, especially 6D. And so this is the confusion. It's blending clearly understood contract law with law around employer and employees. And I just think that the example of Schedule 2 and the omission or exclusion of newspaper and pamphlet delivery services to letterboxes is an example of the complexity and the confusion that is being created.
Mr. Chairman.
The Honourable David